Hey there, Ellen's family. It's Coach Justin here, coming to you doing some jiu-jitsu at home. Um, Today we are going to go over one of my favorite positions. It's called the lockdown. It's a half guard position, and it's a sort of specialized position. I consider it an intermediate technique because it requires you to put yourself in a position, and from there are um, a lot of different options that you have. And so for you, for folks following my Elements curriculum or watching YouTube and following any of that stuff, uh, this this part of the lockdown, in my opinion, falls into an intermediate category because it actually ties in two of the styles, the elemental styles of jiu-jitsu, and I believe they would be earth and water, which is part of the reason why I'm attracted to the lockdown. So the first thing I want to actually show you guys is what it really comprises of, because some of you guys might be like, what is that, and everything. So I'm just going to start by showing you what that means. Okay. So when you have your opponent in half guard, okay, half guard is when your legs go inside like this. So full guard is when both legs are in, right? So both legs. Half guard is when one leg is in and one leg is out. Okay, now most of the time in half guard, you kind of sit here like this, and some variation of the leg inside, the inside leg inside. All right, so the lockdown takes the outside leg and puts it inside, and then the inside leg after figure fouring. So we just like we would could make a figure four out here, make a figure four in here, and then this inside foot comes up underneath this foot. Come on, Bob. There we go. And allows me to manipulate my opponent's base. Okay, so that's the main difference between the regular half guard and the lockdown. Now, if you look at the regular half guard like this, right? I don't have control of my opponent's base. I just have control of this leg. So I can't move my opponent around very well. Now, if I go here on the inside and hook this up, then because I can lift this foot up, I can actually control all the way through the chain to get my opponent to move in various directions. Now, some people are stronger than others, and some people base differently. So this isn't. There's a lot of nuance to this system. But if you're going against people who are new to it or don't know it very well, it's pretty easy to manipulate. So that's where we're starting with our basic people. Okay. So again, it's outside leg goes over and then makes that figure four with the inside leg. Okay. Then this foot comes inside. I see a lot of people get here and then they go like this and they try to get this foot over. It doesn't. It just goes inside, just like this. Okay. So now we're here like this, and we should be able to, like I said, move our opponent around wherever we want them to go. Okay. Now that position can be somewhat uncomfortable to people because they're so used to just figure four and pinning out. So I recommend that people try to use a pole of some sort. This is just some PVC pipe that I had from a stage setup, a stage light that we made. And so you can use this with the pipe pretty easily. Just put it between your legs like this. And you can use a broom or maybe a walking stick or something. And so I would just practice going like this. Just go in and inside and under. And then if you want to try the other side, just do the same thing. You go back and forth like this, here, and here, and here, and here, and so on. So you can just practice this back and forth, and that'll at least help you get your leg memory in place. Or if you want to do like one side be more figure 4 and the other side be lockdown, you could go figure 4, lockdown, figure 4, lockdown, and so on. So that's one thing I would do if you wanted to practice, is just get some sort of pull. Even a smaller version like this would work. So if you have anything small that you could put in between your legs and just visualize the movements and make the movements, that's a good way to do it. Okay, so anybody who doesn't really know what the lockdown is will kind of just let you do it. If they do know what the lockdown is, it's going to be a little harder. So again, we're focusing on this idea that if you're new, you don't know what it is, or you're not very familiar with it, and so you don't really know how to stop it or how to deal with it. So, we're going to start from the bottom up, and we're going to go from the concepts and how to get into the proper positioning to more relevant stuff over the next couple of days. And again, if you're watching this today, I'm only going to do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because Thursday is Thanksgiving. So, okay. So the first thing when we're in the lockdown is the arm positions. Okay. So just like in regular half guard, first off, if you're flat on your back, it's not good, right? And a lot of times, before you know it, people who know what they're doing have an underhook here and an overhook here, okay? That adjustment, so we can see it a little better. All right, there we go. Okay. So, underhook here, overhook here. And they're usually grasping their hands together, okay? So, the first question always is how do I get 2 underhooks? Because you want double underhooks in order for this to work, okay? Or to work properly. Because you can't really sweep anybody with one underhook. When you start to try to move to your side, it's really easy for them to push you back down. So the idea here is to get this underhook. All right, and there's a couple ways that you can do this. All right, so the slightly more forceful way is what we call the jaws of life. Okay, and if you're curious about this as well, there's a lot of stuff that Eddie Bravo does because he's the guy who popularized this move. I will say that this is supposedly a long-time judo position that people stopped using for whatever reason, and so Eddie Bravo kind of figured this out while he was doing jiu-jitsu when he was first starting, and he's the guy that usually that came with the name Lockdown. I don't know if it has an original name or not, but he's got a lot of stuff on this. Okay, so the first thing is getting this underhook. So this is underhooked on me. I want to get the underhook on him. Right. So the more forceful way to do this is with the jaws of life. Okay. So you take this hand here and you put it underneath their armpit until it comes through and makes a fist. All right. Now I haven't come all the way through, and even if he lets go, that's actually exactly what I wanted to do. But if he doesn't let go, it doesn't matter too much because it's not like I'm worried about an underhook on this side. Most people don't try to go for double unders when they're here. They usually try to go for under over. So, and this can work in regular half guard as well. It's just like most of the time people in half guard they don't necessarily hold on to you unless they're really, unless they're figuring their leg work out. So, but in this case, we're just assuming that the guy has tight head control and the guy has a tight underhook here, and he's just squeezing, right? So I need to make some space. So the first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to try to get this hand underneath. Like sometimes people are loose here, and so I can get this hand underneath. And if I get this hand underneath, then I should be able to slowly wedge it down in to get that underhook here, and then I'm fine, right? But if that doesn't work, we've got our jaws of life. So again, our jaws of life is this. So I go here, because a lot of people will put their head down, so you can't get underneath their head, right? Can't get underneath there. So I go here, I come underneath, and I make that fist underneath his armpit like this. Okay, just turn a little bit so I can see. So I make that fist underneath his armpit like this. Now that the fist is here, I can actually start to create a little bit of space using my frames. And once I've started to create space, then this hand can come in. And then I can actually use both hands together to kind of push away and then sweep that hand inside. And once that hand's inside, now I've got my underhook. Okay. With my underhook, I can lift them up together. So that's the power of the lockdown when everything's set in correctly. Is I can actually use this to lift that, and then if I have this underhook, I'm going to lift them as well. And that's exactly what I want to do. I don't want to be flat on my back anymore. If I was in a regular half guard like this, and I was flat on my back, I'd be pretty done, right? Even if I wanted to try, even if I got here and I wanted to try to scoot out, right, I couldn't do it very explosively, because as I start to scoot out, he can push on my head and then flatten me back out again. And then I start to scoot out and then he pushes on my head and flattens me back out again. He wants me flat. That is a main concept of a half guard. He wants me flat on my back so that he can, move around on top of me. I need to get to my side. 100% need to get to my side. And once I'm here, once I'm flat, I'm pretty dead. So the lockdown is sort of a way to give you the opportunity to remedy that. All right, so one more time. I'm here. I get my lockdown, right? And however you can get that is good, but just don't leave this hanging. So right now I've got this foot inside. So what I'll usually do is I'll hold with this foot because that's the easiest one. I'll replace with this. So now I'm sort of sitting cross-legged, and then I'll let that foot slide down, and then I'll bring this one in and usually get to my lockdown that way. Okay, so that's usually how I do it, but you can play around with it. Some people can do it real easy. Some people can even get this foot in like this, just by itself, and then thread this foot inside. Now, I can do that on Bob because his legs are ridiculously long, but I can't do that on a lot of other people. So depending on who you're working with, I always just recommend trying to pin the leg down until you can get this foot, the outside foot behind the inside foot, then get your foot inside. And it's an inch game, but it can be done because I do it all the time. So now I'm here. So again, I'm here, and I can't get this underhook. He's real tight in here, and I can't get anything. So my first thought should be, all right, so I'm going to keep the lockdown and keep to stall until I can get this in position. So this hand comes inside. All right, makes that fist. So that fist is inside. Right? Now that fist is inside, then this hand goes, I start to push here because he's holding on, and so I'm using my pressure to negate his pressure, and then I can get this hand, this left hand inside. And then once I've got that left hand inside, I can push him away enough to then sweep this hand inside. And then once that hand's inside, I don't want to stop right here, right? What I want to do is once I get here, I want to use my legs at the same time to lift my opponent up and then move him over. All right. So if I move to my side with the lockdown, your opponent only has two options. Option one, they have terrible base. Your opponent has terrible base. So when I go to lift him up, right, I put my hands underneath here and I go to lift him up and I move him over, he just rolls over and I come up on top. Just like that. All right, that's option one. Now, most people who have been doing jiu-jitsu for any period of time won't just roll over like that, okay? What they will do is they will base out, okay? So from this position, what that looks like is as I go to sweep him, this leg comes out and creates a base. Like you're on all fours, like you're in turtle position, but you're in turtle position from half guard, okay? And because I'm here, all right, your opponent should do what's called a whizzer. It's where they put this arm over this arm, because if they don't, I can just push him forward like this and come up and take the back. See? So if your opponent does not throw that whizzer on, then you'll take the back. Okay? So one more time. So from the beginning, I'm here, right? I'm stretching them out, because I can do that with the lockdown, stretching them out. And I'm going to take this hand here, and I'm going to put it inside this armpit. Even if I have to kind of jam it in, I'm going to put it inside this armpit. I'm going to create that space. Then I'm going to take this hand and put it inside, the hands together, kind of pray or gable, push. Then once I'm there, I can go here underneath. And I don't have to go all the way to the deep underhook. I actually it's kind of actually better if I don't. If I can get the C cup underneath here, I'm going to have better control. So a C cup is just thumb goes in the armpit, and the other fingers go behind the shoulder. Okay? So thumb in the armpit, other fingers go behind the shoulder. So if I go there, then when I go to whip up, that's what it's called, whip up, then I can move him over. And when I do that, he's gonna base. He's gonna base, right? And I'm gonna whizzer. Or he's gonna whizzer, and he's gonna base, and I'm gonna come here. All right. Now where you put your hand is dependent on what you are going to attempt to do, right? So let's say let's just go with the base, the main line of the lockdown, which is what's called the old school sweep. Okay, so the main line of the lockdown, I'm actually going to grab up high like this, and I'm going to try to get my head, or I'm going to go middle. Sorry, I'm going to go across the middle, and I'm actually going to keep my head real close to the body. Okay, so this is too far away. This is too far away simply because this arm right here can cross face my cheek like this and then drive me back down, and then I'll be flat again, and then I'll have lost that bit of what I had. And I don't want that to happen. So when I go up to get this move, okay, again, the whip up is what it's called. I'm going to come up, bring my knees towards my chest. Then I'm going to move them over like a windshield wiper. So they come up and they go over. All right. I'm not just trying to do this. A lot of people try to do that. Or they just try to do this and then nothing happens. You have to go up and then over like windshield wipers. There's actually a few moves in Jiu-Jitsu where you're moving your legs like that over and up and, you know, towards yourself and whatnot, and then away. Those happen a lot in Jiu-Jitsu. So for our purposes, what I'm going to do is once I get here, I'm going to go up to myself and over, and then real tight low like this. See how deep in you can probably not see my head. I went so far. You want to be like ear to the belly button deep. Okay? Ear to the belly button deep is what you want. So again, I'm here. I'm going to get my, I'll start at the beginning. So I'm here, right? I am stalling by extending, and then I'm going to take this hand, put it inside, and make a fist. I might not even be able to make a fist. If I can just keep my hand flat till I get it through, and then make a fist, then I'll be able to push with the outside. Once I start to push away, then this hand can come inside, double push. This hand comes in and replaces. So now I got two. I'm gonna go up and over, boom, and down low like this. Okay, and what that does is again that keeps them from cross-facing me. Okay, I don't want to end up on my back again. I want to be tight. Okay, so that movement right there is a real important movement, the leg stuff. Now, I want to rewind just a little bit here and go over two things that help with this position. Like I said, there's a lot of little details, and hopefully if you're watching this and taking notes, these are some of the details that you're putting into your notes, okay? So first of all, I don't necessarily have to do this. Okay, I don't necessarily have to punch to get this underhook. In fact, there is a another move that we do in the lockdown system called the whip down. So whip up goes me that way. Whip down is going to take me that way. And we do this, again, when our opponent is being extra tight on us and not giving us any room. And what it can do is it can actually lead to a sweep if my opponent's not careful in that respect either. So we do the same thing, except for we do the same whipping motion, except for in this case, we don't have double unders. We have one under and one over, okay? And we're going to go to our left side. So again, I'm going to go up like this, then I'm going to go over here. See what happens? He starts to roll over, right? Real easy, because there's no base on that side. This side has a base. That side does not. So the only way to keep him from rolling over that way is by putting this hand out. So if he posts that hand, then it stops him. Okay? So again, it's called the whip down. So I'm here and I go up and I go over, and when I go over, he's gonna post with this hand. So I'm gonna try to get Bob to post with his hand real quick. Boop. He posts. So now I can get this hand inside real easy. So now it's inside. He wasn't in the way, which can happen. So it's inside. And then once it's here, then I can whip up the other way. All right. So I whip up. Boom. Now I'm low again. And I'm ready to start my next move. Okay. So this gives you another option for you, because sometimes people just won't let go here. Like they'll squeeze everything in, they'll squeeze their shoulders down, they'll squeeze their lats down, everything will be real tight for whatever reason. Maybe they're stalling because they're about to, they're a minute from winning and they've got the points. So I've got the points. I'm just going to bear down in my lockdown and just mess around with the stuff on the bottom, and I'm going to hold perfectly. Okay, so one more time. So I'm here and I'm here, maybe even here, maybe even I'm holding this arm down. It's one of the things I like to do is I like to grab an overhook and pin that arm down like this. And then so when I do this whip down, boom, they pull their arm out real quick and base, bam, they base. This hand goes inside. And once this hand inside, I'm gonna reach to the sky to get them to move over. And then once they move over, we go low and grab. Okay. Now notice unlike a lot of stuff, I can actually do a lot of stuff with Bob. I don't actually need a whole lot of movement with him, but I can do a whole lot of stuff with Bob. And so that underhook is really good for that. And and it's you can't do a lot. You can't. You need the underhook. I mean, you almost 100% do. Occasionally, you won't, like in the gi, but I'll go over that later. But for now, again, one more thing that I want to discuss before I review and then go over probably one more move is the actual lockdown itself. Okay, so when I do the lockdown, right, there's kind of multiple schools of thought, and you just kind of got to find the one that works for you. Like for one period of time, I actually thought that squeezing your legs together real tight like this was the best way to control the hip. Okay, because if the hip isn't controlled, it's real easy for skinny guys with flexible knees to flip this foot out and then try to slide across. Like I take all this time getting somebody into the lockdown, and the minute I try to stretch it out, they turn their hip and flip that foot out, and I'm like, well, that was a waste of time, right? And then I gotta try to get it back, and then it's like a little back and forth. And while I'm messing around down there, I'm trying to mess around up here. It's super annoying. So I wanted to see if somebody else had some other ideas on the lockdown, and I was able to purchase a in the gi version. And there's not really a whole lot of difference between gi and no gi when it comes to the lockdown. There's a couple of things, but the main detail that wish I could remember his name. I'll try to have it for you tomorrow. He calls it the lotus lockdown, because what you do is you actually open your hips up so that you push down on the knee like this. Okay, you probably can't even hardly see it, but the difference is like this. So if my leg's in lockdown, so I went over, through, underneath, blah. Then then the lotus part is this. I'm actually going to push down on the back of the knee with my shin. So like my calf, actually this heel, this ankle is actually behind the knee when you get this all set up. So I'm actually, when I'm opening this up, that ankle is actually pushing down on the back of the knee. What that does is that disrupts the muscle chain coming down from the hip. Okay, so if I go like this and I push down on the back of the knee, and the knee is going to buckle, and I'm going to be able to control it a lot easier. It doesn't mean that I have to stay this way. In fact, when I get to my side, I don't want to stay this way. I want to extend my legs, so I'm extending downwards with both my legs. Right now, both of my knees are up. It's kind of hard to see from the angle because I want to show you from this angle right now. But this is like I said, this is one little detail that I got from this this guy that I was like, that will help my game so much, and I do believe that it has. So whenever I get somebody in the lockdown, the first thing I do is I get that lockdown in, and then I push this leg down like this. Then when I extend these legs out, it doesn't extend out as far, but extends out with more control because I'm pushing that knee down. If I'm here, then I'm trying to control the hip with my legs, and that's like real hard, right? I might be able to do it because I'm a big guy, but if you're a smaller guy, it's not going to work very well. But if I push down this leg right here, I've disrupted that whole system, and so I'm going to keep them from doing that. Okay. So this is where, if I'm flat, this is where I want to be with my hip open, and that's going to make it easier for me to do the whip up or whip down. So if I'm here and I do this and I lift this up, now I can now see how see when I'm here, it's out. When I start to go up, then I straighten out and go over. Right? So there is a time and place for the straightening, but the knee down, but the lotus part, the opening the hips part, is real important to keep that control. Okay, good. So again, if I'm flat on my back, because this happens, you just messed up and you're flat on your back, and I get in that lockdown, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna open this up some more, like this. So now I've kind of pulled your base down a little bit, and now I'm going to start to do my moves that I want to do. Okay. Plus, this makes it harder for you to, like I said, to escape. It makes it harder for your opponent to flip that leg out. Is the big thing. So that should be a combination of your foot flexing up on their foot and your knee and your leg opening down. Right. Okay. So again, when we're here and I'm here and I'm here, I'm going to whip up or down, and over this way. He's going to base. I'm not going to do this. That's just to get him to move correctly. He's going to base. Then I'm just going to get this hand underneath. And once I get that hand underneath, then I'm going to whip him the other way. When I whip him the other way, this hand wants to go up. This hand should go in C-cup in the armpit. So I'm up and I'm here. Okay, I'm here and I'm here. And my ear is close to their chest, right? And the first move I'm going to show you, it's called the old school. All right, and the old school is kind of like a low single on the inside. So if you watch some of my turtle videos a couple weeks ago, I did a little bit where you do a low single and you either go on the outside or the inside, depending on where your opponent puts his feet, and where depending on where you're at. And so what you're going to do is this leg here, the foot is going to be right next to my face. And I'm going to pull on the foot in toward me, drive, unhook my lockdown, and then come around to the other side. Okay? It's kind of hard to show without a really up-close camera, like somebody actually like videotaping with a camera. Then I need 3 people, but one extra would be nice too. Or actually having somebody do that, because you could sit up and I could show this. So I'll do the best I can with this, okay? So his foot Bob's foot is close. He's based, right? He's based. See where his foot is on the outside here? So with my arm inside and my head real tight, I'm going to reach underneath his shin and grab his foot. Now, the best place to grab for this move is on the outside of the foot, right here, okay? Like I said, Bob's legs are ridiculously long. So getting in the right place is kind of annoying. So let's just imagine that I was able to grab Bob's foot like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull his foot in till he starts to collapse. So it starts to go like this. Then I'm going to come up a little bit. And once he's here, I'm pretty golden. So I can unhook my legs, right? And I pull his foot. I keep hold of his foot. I pull it out. And as I collapse, and I'm going to end up with his foot kind of up here like this. And I'm going to come out the side. And the reason I want to do that, because if I let go at any time, it's real easy for him to turn back in or away, and or to turn into you. So like if I don't keep that foot when I roll up, as I start to roll up, if I don't keep that foot, he just rolls up into me. But if I keep that foot, it's going to be hard for him to roll up into me, okay? So I'm going to readjust so you guys can see it from a different angle. And I'll go from the beginning. And watching it from the beginning, hopefully you can see kind of why this is a intermediate position. And make adjustments for that if you decide to play around with it. Okay. So we're here, underhook, lock down, right? And I'm gonna go lotus. See my knees up, now my knees down. I'm going to whip down, get my arm underneath. And I'm going to whip up, deep, like so, okay? Then this hand is going to reach, grab that foot is grabbed, to pull. Once he's past this foot, I release, come here, got a hold of his foot, I keep a hold of his foot, I lift it up, I go, tell him in side control, and then once I'm far enough inside control, I let it go. So it's a very fluid movement. And so again, for those of you who are paying attention to the elements part of the curriculum, the reason why I consider this earth and water is because you're using fluidity to move your opponent, but you're not moving with your opponent's moves. You're moving your opponent, their joints, in such a way that they move with you. So you're still using fluidity like you would otherwise, but you're not but you're forcing it to happen. It's not happening by nature. Now, sometimes with this, there is a little bit of that, which is why this is why I believe that this counts for that. So I think that's really should be a focus for the position. Now, I mean, if you like the position, you like the position. I mean, it is what it is. And you'll get, there's a lot more to it than just that. There's a lot more options. There's a lot more possibilities. You know, you could do a weekend seminar on this, and it'd probably have to go 4 or 5 hours at least to cover everything you can do from this position in a somewhat meaningful way. But the reason why, again, if you watch my intro video on YouTube, and hopefully some of you will go, oh, you have some sort of intro video on YouTube? Yes. The reason why I talk about this in my YouTube videos is because I'm trying to help people learn what styles that work for them and then help kind of cut away the stuff that isn't for them, right? Because, you know, I'm a larger guy, obviously, larger than a lot of people, unfortunately. And so there's only certain things in jiu-jitsu that will work effectively for me. There are lots of things I can do. There are some things I can't do. And then there's lots of things I can do effectively. So as a bigger guy, it's important to weed out what is not relevant to my style. And so with that analysis, I've, you know, begin to look at all the moves and go, that's this style, that's that style. And you can know what they're gonna go for. You know, you start to, and if you can analyze that way, then you can really analyze the other way. So if you're watching the videos, or, you know, taking the time to go to the YouTube channel, look at the Google Doc, look at the daily log, and actually go through and take the time to write down what I'm showing you, what the moves are, try them out yourself, see how they feel and everything. Then you begin to develop an idea of your own style. And then you'll go, okay, well, I need to know it, but I don't need to know, but I don't need to be good at it. You know, I just need to know that it's there and how to beat it. You know, because jiu-jitsu is not knowing and being great at everything. Jiu-jitsu is knowing what works for you, and we spend way too much time trying to figure that out when we can analyze different move types and break them down into those move types, and then help each other figure out what works best for you, instead of, oh, just try this, or, oh, just try that, you know. So if you like lockdown, you know, like I said, it's an intermediate move. It takes a while to pick up, but once you do, it's actually very powerful. It can be useful to you in a lot of ways. So thank you all for watching. Again, this video will be on Facebook and it will be on YouTube, hopefully later tonight. And I will be back on Wednesday or tomorrow, and then Wednesday, like I said, we'll just keep working on the lockdown position. If you have any questions, either have to direct message me or post them on YouTube. So thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.